Let's talk about how saving money for your client or trying to be helpful can backfire on you. We often want to do what's best for our clients and try to save them money along the process as well. But sometimes our ideas and decisions can have unintended consequences and backfire at us dramatically. On one occasion, client had sent us a DAT file with lots of native files and asked us to load them to the database for review. Well, some of those native files were very, very large. They were media files, music files, audio, and video files. And one of the salespeople in the company suggested, how about we don't load those files because you would not be able to effectively review them in the review system, and we'll just leave them out and you can save some money on hosting. And that idea worked great. Client would review messages, look at metadata, make their coding decisions, but when the time came to produce these documents, they wanted to produce media files, but they were not in the system. So we had to find them, load them in, and produce. And this would have been a huge problem if this was a last-minute production that they needed to turn around quickly. Luckily, we discussed this with the client and we were able to tell them, look, because we didn't load them before, we're going to need to do it now, and it's going to take a little bit of extra time before we can start working on the production. And luckily, they were understanding. Now let's talk about a theoretical situation. Let's say a client calls you up and says, hey, I'm looking for this custom field because our reviewers like to see it. Can you update a couple of hundred documents with so-and-so value? And you don't really have a way of doing it except doing it manually. So you're saying, okay, well, it's only a couple of hundred records. Let's just go ahead and do it. So you go through those documents, you apply the coding, you create a field, and you return it to a client, and everything is great. Client's happy, you did a good job. But now after a couple of weeks, client calls back and says, hey, now I have 10,000 documents to do. So of course you panic. Well, you did 300 or 200 manually, it was okay, but there's no way you can do 10,000. So what you do is you get co-workers, you have them help you, or maybe get people from other departments, and everyone gets in a database, start manually updating things, and finally after a long day you get it all done, you're tired, you go home feeling good that you accomplished it, send an email to a client that it's all done, only to have next morning have him call back and says, what kind of QC process you got? This is all wrong. So what started as a best intention of trying to update a few hundred documents manually backfired on you by not being able to scale that up. And finally, I'm somewhere warm where I could tell you about what happened to me many, many years ago. We had a client called who asked for their data to be processed through a specific program to perform, it doesn't matter what, a specific task. And I explained to him how the program works, and they said, okay, great, but can you do it a little bit different? I prefer to have it a different format a little bit. And I said, you know what? I can't do it because that's just how the program works. It's my application, that's how I wrote it, that's what it does. And the client went, all right, okay, I understand. They were very sad about it. Yeah, just do it whatever way, you do it, and then send me the results. So I said, okay. I went back to my desk, I sat down and I looked at my application, and after a little bit of research, I realized I will be able to do it the way client wanted. So after a little programming, I changed my application and I make it work exactly how the client wanted originally. So I run it through, I send the client results, I go home feeling great about how good of a job I did. Next morning, I get a phone call. Client is pissed off. He says, what did you send me? This is all wrong. This is not what we discussed on the phone. Why did you send me this? And I explained to him, this is what you originally wanted. I apologized. After I hang up the phone, project manager gets the call. Same client yelling at the project manager. Project manager says, Nikolai, get in my office. We get the whole discussion over again. Next, owner of the company gets a call. Same thing, he gets the project manager in. Project manager says, Nikolai, get in here. Now all three of us, everyone's yelling, screaming, client's frustrated. So just turned out into be like just this crazy. And once we finished all the calls where client was yelling at me and everyone, we had some internal meetings where everyone in the company took turns and yelled at me for how bad of a job I did. Now, probably I should have let the client know that, look, I am giving him what he wanted originally, maybe send an email or made a phone call. So I guess you could say it was my mistake, but you could see how trying to please the client and trying to do it what I thought was best for them dramatically backfired on me. Yeah. So, if you guys have a story where you were trying to be helpful or try to save client money and it backfired on you, share it with me in a comment below.